All right, Gator fans, had to hop on here real quick to recap the Florida-Tennessee game. It was for the SEC Tournament Championship. Florida has won 4 previous to today. Hasn't happened that often in Gator basketball history, which is pretty crazy because it's a pretty dominant program, but let's get into it. Okay, so the beginning of this was absolutely a ref show. There was just so many fouls. And if you follow along on social media at all, you would see that both teams really felt like the refs were kind of after them specifically. I think it was honestly just kind of aggressively called both ways, right? But it was definitely a ref show. Talked to somebody who is a neutral watcher, and they were like, man, that is hard to watch when there's so many fouls called. I would say that UF really seemed to kind of get things early, a little bit easier offensively than Tennessee. It was a lot harder for them in the first half. Tennessee did shoot a lot of threes very early, but were pretty one-dimensional, and UF was pretty dominant pretty quickly. And then Tennessee went on a drought where they didn't score for a very long period of time. UF was up by 12 during this stretch of time. It was almost 6 minutes where Tennessee didn't score any, and UF was just able to kind of get on this run until Tennessee was finally able to score again. There was a little bit of a Tennessee run going into halftime, 8-2. They scored 8 points, and then obviously Aberdeen hit that huge 3-point. It pushed the lead to 6, or from 6, to 9 going into halftime. It felt like a pretty dominant UF performance of first half. Second half, they got the lead all the way up to 13 to start the first half. I remember sitting there thinking like, okay, so are we going to see another repeat of what we saw yesterday where the Gators just got on this dominant run? But that really wasn't what happened for a good part of the second half, right? Every single drive by Tennessee felt like a foul was going to be called against UF. This ref show kind of continued. Tennessee did cut the lead to 5 with just under 9 minutes to go after a 3-point play. They hit a couple 2-pointers as well. UF responded and they went on an 8-0 run at one point. They were up 12 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. And that just kind of felt like this was the turning point, right? This was it. UF was not going to back down. They were going to be SEC tournament champions. 2 of Tennessee's better players fouled out. I would say something that really made a difference for Florida in this game was their depth, right? That has allowed them some flexibility that some of these other teams haven't had. You saw it on display with Tennessee. UF held strong. They made their free throws. They milked the clock, and they ended up winning 86-77. So, neither one of these teams really shot the lights out from the floor. And I don't know that that's something that's really surprising, right? Tennessee is one of the best defensive teams in the country. But the Gators really dominated the Volunteers on the boards. They had so many more offensive rebounds than Tennessee. I want to say it was like 15 or 16-5, right? Those second chance points for the Gators made a huge difference today. Tennessee is a smaller team overall than the Gators as well. And that is something that the Gators use to their benefit, grabbing those offensive rebounds. And that's something that Florida will have as an advantage moving into the tournament as well. This was big, right? Todd Golden's 3rd year as the Gators head coach, his first SEC championship tournament win, UF's 5th overall. They haven't done it since 2014, right? So it has been over a decade since this trophy has made its way back to Gainesville. The Gators are going to be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, and I am excited to check out the odds for the games coming up, and I already know the Gators will be big favorites to get to the Final Four. Check out BetUS TV's coverage of all of March Madness all over social media. We appreciate them so much for their support. And he did it in 3 years. That's something that I think has been discussed ad nauseum on this channel and others, not just with basketball, but just college sports in general. How much time is enough time to turn the tide? How much time is enough time to turn a program around? Well, Todd Golden says 3 years, right? UF looked pretty impressive in his second year. We knew we had the opportunity for something special going into this season. They were picked sixth in the SEC, though. So I don't know that many people outside of Gainesville knew that there was the opportunity for something special. But here we are, won the SEC tournament championship. They are headed into the tournament as a number 1 seed. I think that this debate is completely settled. Florida should be a lock. I think there's an argument to be made that Florida should be the number 1 team overall, but they are certainly one of 4 number 1 seeds. And if that for some reason doesn't happen, which I cannot imagine a scenario, but I will get back on here and rant about that because Florida is the most deserving team in the country. Think about they just added 3 quad 1 wins in the last 3 days to their resume. Nobody has a resume as impressive as the Gators. Nobody has bragging rights like Florida does. They should be a number 1 seed. They will be a number 1 seed. So now we just wait to kind of see Selection Sunday, how these brackets shake out, who UF's opponents will be. But Florida is one of the best teams in the country. They are now only 6 wins away from a national title. There is no reason that UF can't go out and win it. When they are playing their best basketball, I would argue that there is no one better than the Florida Gators in the country. It feels like they're peaking at the right time. It feels like they've had the opportunity to kind of fight through some adversity throughout this season. They have better quality wins than probably anybody out there. There is a real chance the Florida Gators could play for a national title. Crazier things have happened. This team is poised to make a run in this tournament. Okay, so Selection Sunday in just a few hours, we will know who Florida's playing. Obviously, I'm recording this before the show happens, but don't worry. I believe Florida's going to be a number 1 seed, and we're going to talk about it with Neil Blackman later on in the week. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can check that out. But those announcements are going to be coming soon. I do think Florida's going to be a number 1 seed. I do think they have an opportunity to make a deep tournament run. And listen, it's March. This is an exciting time in college basketball, and it's a really good time to be a Gator. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll have more content soon. And as always, go Gators.